to be in Carolina in the morning.
High hopes, he's got high apple pie in the sky. Hope nothing could be finer than to be in Carolina in the morning.
Hi, I'm John Malos, and welcome to this edition of Connect with Me, live on the showroom floor at Ventura TV on this Wednesday morning. Today we're talking religion, a very big celebration on tap this year when it comes to the Greek Orthodox Church. Your phone calls are much important here to this program. 436-ME-TV, hit option 11. Don't wade through the message. Please save yourself the pain and hit option 11 as soon as possible. Back in a moment. No doubt about it, today we're going to be talking about religion, and of course the Pope is down in Brazil, Rio de Janeiro. Maybe you saw the video from a day or two ago when his car was being mobbed. It actually came to a stop and the fans were glomming onto the car. The Pope was keeping his cool though. He had a smile on his face. He was not worried about his safety, but I'm sure that the safety detail, all the security people, they were going bananas. We are talking religion, not talking about the Catholic religion today, not talking about the Pope. We're talking about the Greek Orthodox religion and the church celebrating 90 years here in the city of Fresno. I want to show you a piece of videotape that is simply incredible. Look at this photo, this shot of the original Greek Orthodox Church in Fresno dating back to 1924. That building still stands today. 1924 to 1954, Fresno Street near Chandler Airport and the Kearney Arch. You can fast forward to 1954. This is the groundbreaking ceremony, the bishop doing the first dig on the existing church on North Orchard between McKinley and Clinton. Now there, of course, is the groundbreaking, the crews working diligently. This is rare footage shot back in 1954 of the construction of the current church, St. George Greek Orthodox Church. It's shot on 16mm film. It's in color, which is amazing. And if you look at the area around there, you'll see it. It's in the middle of a field, and there are no homes, no businesses. It could be in the middle of Kansas for all we know. These are the golden arches. 6 golden arches in all were built. Look at the church standing all by itself in the middle of a field, no other homes or businesses around. This is the church partially built right there. Of course, the bricks, the scaffolding, the arches you can see right there. There is the third priest of the Greek Orthodox Church. We'll talk about him a bit later on. Look at the hoisting of the cross. This is solid concrete. It's the same cross that stands on top of the church today, St. George Greek Orthodox Church. And the procession coming in, look at the cars, circa 1940s and 50s. Live in our studio right now is Father James Pappas of the Greek Orthodox Church. He has been the priest there, the head priest, for the better part of 20 years. He is here to talk about the 90-year celebration of the Greeks and their church here in the city of Fresno, and also the Greek Fest coming up on August 23rd, 24th, and 25th. Your phone calls are important. 436-ME-TV, option 11. Don't wade through the message. Hit option 11 quickly. Back with our guest in just a moment.
Frigidaire. We introduced the first home freezer, the first pulsator agitator washer, and now we introduce the Frigidaire Orbit Clean Dishwasher, designed with a unique wash arm that gives you 4 times more water coverage for a consistently better clean. Frigidaire, over 90 years of legendary innovation.
See the full line of Frigidaire appliances at Ventura TV Electronics and Appliances.
We're back here on Connect with Me, talking religion on this day. Father James Pappas is our guest
John.
today. Hi, how are you?
I'm
Good
great.
to see you.
always awesome.
Hey.
Yeah.
All right. So this 90th celebration, that footage is so awesome. 16 millimeter film, originally shot in 1954, color no less.
Color no less.
When you look at the church, you know, just the framing of the church, there's nothing out there. No
Nothing,
homes.
nothing.
No businesses. It could be in the middle of Kansas for all we know.
Well,
it
was interesting.
It's amazing.
It was interesting that when the parish decided to move out there, some of the parishioners were not very happy about it because the comment was, "What do you want to go all the way out there for? There's nothing there." And that's how Fresno was. It was just being built up around in that area, which is Clinton and First Streets, and Radio Park is there. And then now, presently, you have the premier art museum, the Fresno Art Museum, that is also in that neighborhood. I was, you know, talking about that film footage. Some of the workers that were there were actual parishioners. Many of the parishioners were on hands in helping to build that structure and doing a lot of the foundation work. And so they were, I recognized Jim Levanis in there, for instance, who married into the Reckes family. I recognized some of the other young people there were children of original parishioners. And so there was a number of individuals who actually showed up from time to time just to try to help with the erection of that facility. Also, the arches themselves, they are golden arches now, painted, but they were wrapped with gold paper or gold whatever it was to make sure that they weren't damaged when they were erecting them.
How many arches were there, or are there?
You know what? I've never counted them. I'm guilty. I haven't counted them.
I think there's like 6 or 7.
There's something around 7 sticks in my mind, and that's a holy number.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you'll see that one scene, we'll show it later in the show, of that one individual, I don't know if it was a construction worker, a parishioner, climbing on top of one of the arches.
That was a construction worker.
No netting at the bottom.
And you notice what they did was they created a ladder on those arches.
Yes.
I tend to call them ribs myself. And but on the arches, they put steps on there so he could climb all the way up to then connect the 2 beams together.
By the way, before we go to the monitor here and take a look at the golden arches, who shot the film?
Not McDonald's. Okay. Who shot the film?
Yeah.
Okay. Chris Petropoulos, who is Demi Mijas's father, and of course everybody knows Peter Mijas, who was a former superintendent of schools.
Yeah.
Peter, God bless him, took all of that film and put it on a DVD for us.
Amazing.
And then he did some of the narration in the film as well.
Yeah.
But Chris's brother, Steve, was, I believe, president at the time that all of this was taking place.
Amazing.
Now, our church goes back not just to 1924, it goes back to 1923.
That's why it's the 90th celebration.
And May 5th of this year happened to be Orthodox Easter. And May 5th was the actual day of establishment of this parish.
Wow.
When the parish council came together and, well, created a parish council and said, we are going to establish a Greek Orthodox community here in Fresno.
All right, let's go to the arches and the videotape. There are the arches right there, Father James Pappas, and you can comment on what we're looking at.
So there they are. There's the wrap, and they're bringing them together. They were separate, and then, of course, a little bit later on, you're going to see where the guy climbs all the way up there, and then
they're painted gold,
together.
Though, right?
Now they're painted not just gold, but also with design work.
Okay.
So there's even more on that now.
There they are, putting them together, and I wonder how they
join in the middle.
Yeah.
And then as the church is
there, he is climbing.
Is built.
Amazing.
It's amazing. As the church is built too, this will form. The ribs will form a dummy ceiling. In essence, a cove ceiling, a dummy ceiling, and then there's another roof that goes over it that's a pitched roof.
They look gold there.
Yeah, that's because they're wrapped. But they are underneath, they are painted, and they were painted by a gentleman by the name of William Savalas.
That's a parishioner
and
there
he was,
working there?
That was a parishioner. This is a parishioner.
Mm-hmm. Mixing some
concrete
concrete
make out
there,
who some of those folks are. Some of them I do recognize, even though they're a heck of a lot younger. Some of the...
I think there are 7 arches, as you mentioned there. I was trying to count them.
Now.
One, two,
3, 4, 5, 6.
Six arches.
Six.
So now we know how many arches there are. We'll turn you right back around here. So, you know, that may have been one of the most dangerous times of the building of the church, is putting those arches up.
Think about that.
I mean,
I tend to wonder just how much insurance people had in those days.
What are the arches made of?
Wood.
Wood.
There are wood.
I thought they were concrete, but
no,
they're wood.
The arches are wood.
Okay.
Because, like I said, they form they form the support of a dummy ceiling in there.
Gotcha.
And then there are crawl spaces and actually catwalks.
Yeah.
So you can climb up now into that area, and there's enough up there to create more rooms. There's so much in that ceilings, that roof space.
And I want to show you the video of the hoisting of the cross, which is, you said, was solid concrete. It is.
Yes, yes.
All right, here it is right here, and you'll see, you know, it's really funny. You'll see
That's
one of
the bell tower.
Okay.
And we do have carillons in the bell tower. That's
Who's the
Father
priest?
John Limbarakis.
Okay.
He was the third priest of the community. He just passed a couple of years ago.
Okay.
Nice looking man.
Yep. Yep. How old was he when he passed?
83 or 4, I believe.
Okay, now watch the hoisting here as it goes up.
There it is.
The,
but that is a solid concrete cross. There's
yeah.
nothing hollow core about it.
Yeah. Now, if you're just joining us, this is 1954 as they're building the Greek Orthodox Church on Orchard between McKinley and Clinton. There is the hoisting. You'll see one of the workers there with a cigarette in his mouth. Really funny. But they are trying to put this thing in place. But you don't see
a lot of metal scaffolding there. Everything's erected with wood.
No, and apparently they're not scared of heights.
No,
I mean,
look what they're walking over, just a couple of planks.
And I would imagine if this thing is solid concrete.
That's Father Limbarakis with 2 of his children.
Right. If it's all concrete, it's got to be fairly heavy. Yes. And there it is, mounted on top of the church as it stands today. But
exactly.
This is old footage.
And it is set in concrete as well.
Yeah. Amazing. The Greek Orthodox Church, St. George Greek Orthodox Church, celebrating 90 years in existence here in the city of Fresno. A dinner will take place later this year.
November 9th. We have had a number of events to mark our 90th anniversary.
Okay.
We celebrated it on Easter, our Eastern Orthodox Easter, because that was the day that marked it.
Yeah.
And we've had Cretan dance, we brought in a wonderful event where we brought in a professional Cretan singer from Crete. And then the food festival is going to commemorate our 90th. November 9th is a dinner. Greek Fest is the 23rd, 24th, and 25th, right? Yeah, 24th, 24th, and 25th of August.
Right. Okay. Father James Pappas is our guest here talking about the Greek Orthodox Church. That's St. George Greek Orthodox Church, 436 MeTV. If you want to join the conversation, hit option 11. Back in a moment.
Weeknights on MeTV. Who loves you, baby?
You shouldn't ask.
It's Kojak.
Well, it sounds like music to my ear.
On MeTV.
Look at me.
Why do we love him?
Maybe it's the way I comb my hair.
Or maybe it's his trusty right-hand man.
More bite? Cracker! Cracker! Cracker!
Kojak!
Well, I just wanted to hear how it sounded.
Telly Savalas is Kojak.
Story of my life, baby.
Weeknights at 12:30, 11:30 Central on MeTV.
Who loves you?
Back here on Connect With Me on MeTV Fresno, talking about St. George Greek Orthodox Church. There's somebody, a parishioner, actually told me, Father Jim, that before the original church was built on Fresno Street, right near the Kearney Arch, the Greeks had nowhere to go, and so they were living on the west side. So where did they go to church? They went to church at Holy Trinity on Ventura Avenue. That's
we
the
did
Armenian
use Holy
church.
Trinity, the Armenian
church.
church.
Yeah, because it's been there, what, 100 and something years?
Which is the oldest Orthodox church in the area.
Right. So that's where the Greeks used to go prior to the building of the church on Fresno Street.
And we had Greeks that came in here in the late 1800s.
Yeah.
And the Papa George family was one of those families, the Mucius family a little bit later. And the Papa George family, there's still one member of the family that's still here. Her name's Pat Boris. She's 94 years old this year. And she lives next door at Nazareth House, which was being built around the same time as our church was. And now she is living right across the street from the church.
Yeah. I just can't believe that, you know, back in 1954, there was just nothing out there. It's amazing.
Nothing.
I mean, it looks like farmland. It was farmland.
It was. You could see the construction of housing around that area. And I believe you have some film footage of that too, right?
Let's go to the monitor. We will look at some of the preparation taking place for the opening of the Greek Orthodox Church. This is 1954 footage, the existing church now that sits on North Orchard. So what's going on here?
They're curing the concrete inside the church. And that is the aisle that goes from the front to the front door and
to the side.
To the side.
That's a
and
side
then
door.
This here is what we call a kuvuklion or tomb. And on Good Friday, that tomb is decorated with flowers.
Original
for
pews.
The burial of Christ.
Yeah.
And those, I saw a couple of brass candelabras. They're still in the church. These are the original icons, holy pictures from the original church, and they were brought over here. Now they are adorning somebody else's church because then we came in and redid all the iconography in the church.
These come from Greece?
Probably.
Yeah.
I can't tell you that for sure. Probably they did come from Greece. The ones that we have presently were done by a Greek and an Italian, William Savalas and Innocenzo Dario, and they were done here in America.
This is a rare look inside the church
Yes,
before all the other icons went up. I mean, that's amazing footage, isn't it?
Yes,
That's
absolutely amazing footage.
footage. I just can't believe
Absolutely.
it. I was kind of shocked and stunned when I first saw it because, you know, to shoot and you know, use 16mm film, of course, no sound, but to use color no less. Back then, in '54, everything was black and white.
Right.
So,
well, like I said, we can thank the Petropoulos family for that.
Yeah. So this park, what's the name of the park?
Radio Park?
Radio
Because there's a
Park.
radio tower right in the middle of it.
Right, and I want to show you, and you've already seen this, but show our viewers what Radio Park used to look like back in 1954. A nice aerial view. I guess one of the construction. Look at that.
There's
a
a
little
lot
bit
of
of housing.
mature trees
Is that
on
the
it.
vet
That's
right
the
there?
Veterans Hospital, the
Okay.
VA. There's Clinton.
Okay.
Okay, now you're going down Clinton. You can see where the construction is starting and not a lot of trees. And that's the park right in the foreground. And then as you're going
1950s
this
truck
way,
going by. Is that Clinton?
we're still Clinton there now, First Street.
Okay.
Here's First.
There's First.
And then right at this, I'll say the right end, Fresno Art Museum would be there, and then that's the construction of the Nazareth House.
Right. And look at the cars. Look at the police car there, and that is the priest.
There's Father Limbarakis again, and what's happening is the parish is now moving from the original church to the new church.
On
And
Orchard.
they created a long traditional procession of this. By the way, that is very historical.
What, this procession?
These kind of processions were historical even when you wanted to do divine liturgy. If you went historically, and we're going to do a liturgy in places anywhere from Constantinople, which is modern-day Istanbul, anywhere through the Middle East or Greece, you might pick a particular church. You would take the elements that you would use, the vessels that you would use, and create a grand processional through the village. You would go to this particular church, do the services, and then carry everything back to its original place.
How far back does that go, that tradition?
Centuries. You're talking about 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th century. You're talking way back in that tradition. So what Father John did here...
At the beginning of time, in the beginning of Christianity?
The beginning of Christianity. They were doing some of those things then. I would say after... Those kind of things happened maybe after the 4th century, once the persecutions of the Christians ceased. After, during Constantine the Great's era and forward.
What does the procession, I mean, what does it all mean?
What does it mean?
Bottom line.
It's just a way of honoring God and giving Him the absolute best. So processional would create a sense of holiness for the people, and it would also create a sense of worship. And so a processional is also bringing God's dominions, for instance, the angels and the saints, also present through the vessels or through the people that are there. It's just a way of lifting up God in a very, we don't want to call it celebratory way.
Do any other religions copy this or do the same thing?
Well, the Catholic Church does.
Okay, they do the processions, right?
They have processionals as well.
Okay.
I believe the Anglican Church does.
Okay.
And then from then on, it just depends on what Protestant faith. I'm just staying within Christianity right now. There's some of that in Judaism.
And of course, when Christ was crucified, there was a procession. So, I mean, it kind of follows along the path of history.
Exactly. Processions really do have a real historical practice, if you want to call it that, in the life of...
We're talking with Father James Pappas. He is the priest, has been at St. George's, or St. George Greek Orthodox Church for the better part of 20 years, and he's celebrating 90 years this year of the church in the city of Fresno. Rare footage, never seen before here on Connect With Me for the first time. It's just great stuff, man. Color, no less, 16mm stuff. We're back. Phone calls, if you want to join the conversation, 436-ME-TV, option 11.
Ventura TV Appliance Center. We're the save energy, save time, save money place. The Energy Star qualified #1 rated high efficiency Cabrio from Whirlpool Place. You heard right. Right now, save big on select Whirlpool Cabrio laundry pairs and pay no interest when paid in full within 6 months. at the hometown low price think outside the big box place. Since 1951, Ventura TV Appliance Center. We're working hard to be your place.
And we're back here on Connect with me, taking a look at rare footage from the building of the Greek Orthodox Church back in 1954. How long did it take to complete once they started that, the groundbreaking, the first dig? What, about 7, 8 months?
I think it was more like 15 months.
Oh, wow.
15
really?
months sticks in my head.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know that all took place before you and I were born?
Yes, I know. It means we're really young.
I know. That makes me feel so good when I turn to the monitor and look at this footage that was shot before I was born. How do you like that?
I'm looking at some of these pictures, and I even see some of my relatives in there, too.
How does that make you feel? Oh, we have a phone call before we go to the tape. Okay. Good morning. You're on Connect with me with Father James Pappas. Your question, please.
Wow, I was blown away by some of that 16 millimeter footage that you were showing. Unbelievable of all the development that's happened around St. George. And I guess the popular car of that year was a Buick, because there seemed to be a lot of vintage Buicks in that in the footage. Anyway,
yeah, 1940s and 50s circa cars, as you can see there. Remember that police car that we showed you?
I know, pretty neat stuff. That's great. What a treat. I didn't expect it when I tuned in. Anyway, I wanted to have a question for Father Jim. Always looking forward to Greek Fest. It's one of the high points of the social season in the summertime around the valley. And what's on tap this year? What can we look forward to at this year's Greek Fest?
Well, I'll tell you, a lot of the traditional things, we're always looking to make it bigger and better. And of course, we will have the tours of the church and the music celebrations within the church, as well as the live Greek dancing and the live Greek music and bands. We also have all the wonderful foods that you are used to. The wonderful thing about St. George is we still cook all our own foods in-house. So we're not bringing from scratch.
Yeah.
We are not bringing anybody else's foods in, with the exception of there might be a few pastries in there from Sinbad, just to kind of help round it off, because we can only cook so much. And yet we seem to always make enough, which is just
So you're telling me that Kopi slaves over the kitchen stove?
Kopi's baklava recipe is the recipe we use for our food fest.
Yeah, he doesn't get any sleep from
Nobody sleeps.
Nobody sleeps from like June through August.
We have a lot of the vendors that we bring in, the various vendors, which have items from anywhere from Greece, or some local jewelry and such like that too. This year, we also try to reach out to the community. So you can get into the food festival by bringing a can of food, for instance. If you don't have a coupon to get in, and you can get in free by bringing a can of food, and then we donate that food out to the community.
But this is open not only to the Greeks; it's open to everybody, anybody.
It's throughout the valley,
throughout the Central Valley.
It turns out
right.
that we now have probably the largest Greek food festival in attendance-wise throughout California. And it
What's
could be
the
one
congregation?
Of the
What's the number of congregation?
Our congregation is over 400 families.
That's a lot.
And so we, multiply that by persons.
And it's the only Greek church between
Modesto and Bakersfield.
And Bakersfield, okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Bakersfield has a church?
Bakersfield does have a Greek church by the name of St. George as well.
Okay.
Modesto's is Annunciation.
Okay.
And we all support one another too in our efforts, and it's the main fundraiser for the church, but we also reach out to the community. We support local schools. We support some of the other groups that we do. We're going to have a foster care agency coming in to sign people for foster care this year. We have somebody else doing swabs for bone marrow bank. We're going to be doing a lot to reach out to the community. We also do some community service trades. The Monsters are going to be here this year working the food festival with us. The hockey team.
Oh, the Fresno Monsters. Yeah, they've been here.
Because it's such a big venue that we've welcomed in a number of organizations from outside the community.
I love the
that
Monsters.
want to just come and work with us.
I like their organization.
And
nice people.
I'm trying to think of what else you get to look forward to. There's still the kiddie games.
The music, the dancing.
The music, the dancing, and it's going to run the evening of Friday, and then most of the day on Saturday, and most of the day on Sunday.
See, during Greek Fest,
and hopefully we'll be able to keep the weather cool.
Yeah, well, you got to talk to your friend Kopi about that. But during the month of August, and specifically during the Greek Fest, everybody is Greek.
You know what?
Everybody
Come and
is
be
Greek.
Greek for a day.
That's
the
right.
line from my Big Fat Greek Wedding, which is one of my favorites, is there are two types of people in the world. Those who are Greek and everybody else who wants to be.
Let's go to the monitor one more time and take a look at the communion. Now this communion took place, as you can see, during the building of the church. Yeah, during the construction, okay? And then you'll see later on it changes. So what's going on here?
Okay, so anyway, again, Father Limbarakis again. This is Stathi. He was our old chanter and our sexton of our church. I recognize him. I even recognize one of the women here who was even raised in the church, Kula Skofis, who was Kula Kalis before marriage. This is Archbishop Kokanaikis, Athenagoras Kokanaikis, and he's blessing the facility. It's very instrumental that when you're doing something grand like this, that normally a bishop would come and visit.
Look at the people back there in 1954. How they're
and
dressed.
I have to say, actually, some of my relatives are sitting in there too, because most of my family that came in from Greece settled in Fresno initially and then moved on to the Bay Area or LA.
It's going to change. See, we go in the church now. It's completed and, well, almost completed.
This was
They're doing it inside.
after they had the grand procession from the old church to the new church, then they started services in there, even incomplete.
And take a call here. Good morning. You're on with Father James Pappas. What's your question?
Good morning. I have been several times to the festival, and I have a couple of good friends that are members of the church. When can people actually go and commune with you at a service? What are your hours for service?
For joining us for prayer, hours of service. Mainly, let's just say the two main services during the week on Sunday, 8:30 for what we call Mountains, or Orthros is our traditional term, and then Divine Liturgy at 9:30. And then during the week, it's being on our mailing list, and you can find out how I set up my services during the week, because they follow a pattern of feast days. And so we have a number of services coming up in August, because we have a celebration of the falling asleep of the Virgin Mary, and there'll be services on some evenings during the week, sometimes in the morning. So you'd probably just have to call the church or get on our mailing list at church, and then this way you can find out.
Would you like to attend one of the services? Are you still there?
Yes, I absolutely would. And
love to have you.
I have a curiosity. Is it possible that you still do some in Greek?
I do. Mainly my part is in English now, because my community is like the United Nations of parishes. I have people from all over the world who attend. But my choir sings in Greek and in English, and then there are parts that I may do in Greek. And then it depends, for instance, during the weekday services too. If my congregation leans more to Greek, I hear a little bit more Greek. So.
And is there some sort of a website?
Yes, we do have a website, and I'm guilty. I don't remember what it is.
You
just
know who the
Google St.
back in
George
1950.
Greek Orthodox Church in Fresno, and you'll find it.
You knew the Greek bishop in 1954, and you don't know the.
I know, it's bad. It's really bad. Yeah, but we have a Facebook page.
You know, I'm teasing you. I'm teasing you.
It's okay. John does that a lot. We have a Facebook page as well, so you can just Google it in there and find out the information there. And then for the Food Fest, we have a separate website, which is FresnoGreekFest.com.
Does that answer your question? Okay, I guess it does. Yeah. Well, we got about, what, 30 seconds left? Yeah, 30 seconds left. Any final thoughts about I love that footage. It makes me feel so young.
I know, isn't
like
that great? We all need to feel about that. You know, I don't have any gray right now.
No, you have none.
No.
I don't see anything.
Anyway, it's all great to be able to see this and to reminisce. We do have the 90th anniversary big one celebration coming, which is hosted by the American Hellenic Educational Progressive Association. Mouthful, but they're a vital part of our church, and they're hosting the November 9th celebration. And if people wanted to join us for that, more than welcome.
All right, Greek Fest is the 23rd of August. No, 23rd, 24th, 25th. 25th, and the dinner celebrating the 90th anniversary of the church is in November.
Exactly.
Okay, out of time. Father James Pappas, thank you. Come back again. Thank you very much. You're a great guest always. That's going to do it for us here on Connect with Me. We're back tomorrow on Me TV Fresno.
Hi, I'm Alan Brady. You remember me from the Alan Brady Show?
Yes, if Alan needs any help. Shut up, Mel. Yes, sir. Shut up, Mel. Shut up, Mel. Yes, sir.
I had the best TV writers on my show. Rob Petrie, Sally Rogers.
Hey, I got it. Don't anybody move.
And Buddy Sorrell.
Whoa. Hey, you moved. I forgot it.
On the Dick Van Dyke Show here.
Alan, if you're...
Shut up, Mel. On MeTV.
Weeknights at 9:30, 8:30 Central on MeTV.
What's the matter with you?